Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Valmore. Today I'm going to be making for you a recipe from the Necronomnomnom. It is going to be a cold tuna and couscous salad with homemade pesto. This is Cthus-Koos. Let's get started. So for this recipe, I'm going to chop up some green onion, dice some roasted red pepper, cut some olives into rings, cut some baby corn into quarters, and mince some garlic that I'll use for the recipe and the pesto. So this recipe doesn't actually have directions for homemade pesto, but there's a lot of ways you can take that. Some of them incredibly simple, some more complex, but I'm gonna go with a pretty simple one today, and I wanna start that by toasting some pine nuts. I just think toasting them will add a nice extra level of flavor to this pesto. So I'm going to toast them probably 5 or so minutes, until that nutty aroma really starts to pick up. I also want to cook up the garlic just a bit in a similar sense to just let it release some of its aroma and oil. And with those out of the way, I'm going to finish up my pesto. So I'm going to start with basil into my food processor and parsley. And now I'm going to put in my toasted pine nuts, my lightly toasted garlic, Parmesan, and generally when I'm making stuff using my own recipe, I usually tell you the quantities I'm putting in, but I'm not really using quantities for this. I'm just kind of winging it. If I had to put something though, I'd say about 2 to 3 cups of basil, about a cup of parsley, 3 garlic cloves, about a half a cup of pine nuts, and doing about a half a cup of Parmesan. And then I'm going to start with about half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. And this again is something you can change to get the consistency that you'll want with this. And now it's time to mix my sauce. Also, you'll want to add a little salt. And like I said, more olive oil when you want to change the consistency of it. And with my pesto sitting and marrying together the flavors for a bit, I'm going to finish up on the rest of my tuna salad. So into some boiling water, I'm going to add my baby carrots and some salt. And I'm just going to cook these up until they get tender. So about 5 minutes. Now that the corn has completed, I am going to add my couscous into my boiling broth. I'm going to cover it and let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now I make a lot of couscous, and I usually like to use, a broth or stock instead of just water. And what I used in this one is some duck stock left over from my recipe from a couple videos ago. While the couscous cooks, I'm going to put together the rest of my salad. And I'm going to start that with the tuna, lemon zest, capers, about half the corn, saving the rest as a garnish, my diced peppers, minced garlic, and olive slices, olive oil, my pesto, and then finally into this I'm going to add my still hot couscous. I am going to now mix everything together. And then I'm going to cover it and let it sit for about 15 minutes, stirring it again once or twice. And before serving, I am going to put in my green onion and lemon juice. And I'm going to mix. mix everything around. So this was absolutely delicious. This pesto had such a wonderful herby flavor and aroma, so fresh, something that just can't be replicated with the jarred pesto, and just really stands out throughout this dish. You also want to make sure if you're making this, you don't over salt the dish, because I felt that between the capers and the olives, they added enough salt, and I think any more would have been too much. So be careful with that if you're making it. And the whole thing was brought together by this bright, acidic lemon that's vital to make sure that the olive oil doesn't turn the whole dish too heavy. And though I guess this wouldn't exactly be a cold salad, the way it's put together this way, it's more of like a warm salad. I definitely want to try to see what it's like at work this week cold. I hope you guys enjoyed. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at chef_Velmore. The links will be in the description below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and come on back next week for another recipe.